You've sold it to me. Just give it to me and tell me how much it is. And yeah, that's how I got into the Young Avengers, is because of the OC connection.
Well, unfortunately, the Young Avengers only had a certain amount of issues. But you
Yeah.
know, but you know what has even more issues?
Oh,
We've got issues. That's right. Welcome to another installment of the We've Got Issues podcast, where we gather once a week to discuss a past week's news in all things comic book and comic book related media. As always, I am your co host, Evan, and joining me, as always, is the magnificent vocal stylings of the Fizza.
hey, hey, hey.
And today, like last week, we'll be bringing you another special episode all about all the exciting big news that just came out of the DC Fandom convention that was held last Saturday. Are you ready for this, Fizza?
I'm ready when you
Awesome. It's what I love to hear.
are. Hey, the convention was cut down substantially, right? We spoke
Yes.
about that.
So the convention was originally supposed to take place over the span of 48 hours, but in the twilight hours, very last minute, um, and again, whether or not this is tied into the big DC news that we covered last week, uh, not really sure, but what it surprised me, they ended up splitting the convention into two. So they had the convention last Saturday, and then they're holding the second part on September 12th.
That's interesting. That's just a few days before TikTok is supposed to be banned.
Before what? TikTok?
TikTok was supposed to be banned on September 15th, I believe.
Well, then DC better get in his news quick before TikTok is no longer available to.
There's actually a lot of people on TikTok who do short videos
Yeah.
nowadays about characters. So if you're on TikTok, look around. I follow this one dude. I can't think of him right now, but he does these short X-Men biographies.
Okay.
They're fantastic. He's great. He even dresses up like characters.
Well, you know whose greatness could heavily be debated and has been.
His greatness.
Zack Snyder's greatness has been heavily debated.
Oh, I never considered him great.
I think some of his work's good, others, but there are people out there who swear by Zack Snyder and think that he's great. Um,
Um,
and uh, and which brings us to the first news story on today's docket.
in my opinion, he's no Tom King.
True, although
He, I would consider, is in the great uh, sphere. Like he's
well,
up in that
one does
great.
movies, the other does comics.
That's true.
So,
You know what?
um,
A great director um, would not be Snyder, man. Like I don't even consider him in my top
a lot of people do. A lot of people
top.
really
He's
like
not
his
even in my
stuff.
top 50. Well, he does. He has a niche, right? And the people who are
Right.
into that niche are all
Shiny,
about that niche.
music
So
video,
just like the
sexy,
people,
kind of,
just like all
yeah,
those
that's
people
his
who love,
niche.
just like all those people who love Inception, even though it's the stupidest goddamn movie ever made.
Hey, I liked Inception.
It was a terrible movie.
Well, I'll accept you.
Objectively, scientifically, everything about that movie is awful.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, so then I take it you're not looking forward to Tenant?
God no.
Um, but
That's
anyways,
sad.
uh, regarding Zack Snyder, news came out about the big um, Zack Snyder cut of Justice League that will be premiering on HBO Max in the first
Yeah.
half of 2021. So
Yeah,
we
everyone's
finally
really
got
excited
some,
about that.
yeah, so we finally got some firm details on that. Um, so there had been a lot of discussion after it was announced about what format it would be, how long it would be, what kind of shape it would take, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it turns out that it's going to be 4 parts, with each part being an hour long.
4 hour
So
movie.
essentially a 4-hour movie.
So they've turned, wait, so they turned a graphic novel into a miniseries.
Or they turned a 2-hour movie into a 4-hour movie, would be another way to
I would
look
say
at it.
it's more like a TV series in just an hour long format. So, and
Sure,
it's gonna be played. It's gonna be played over multiple nights, correct?
yes.
So it's definitely a miniseries.
But the question is,
Watch movie cinema.
do you want that Justice League movie as a miniseries? Do you want 2 more hours of it?
I mean, I thought, you know what? When I saw Justice League, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Is the thing I came out saying about that movie. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It was like a Jeff Johns run in any number of comics from the 90s.
That's fair.
Completely adequate.
And I know
Completely
that a
adequate.
lot of people are going to say, like, look, it ended up being as messed up as it was because it had Joss Whedon working on it too. It's just, I don't know. I also saw Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman, which were both just pure Zack Snyder DC vehicles, and
I did not
they were
like
okay.
I did not like Man of Steel for
Me neither.
varying reasons. Well, you just said it was okay. Was it okay or was it not good?
I didn't like
Don't say
it.
it's not good.
I
Okay, good.
didn't like it.
No,
Thank
I
you for
just
giving
show
me
me a
permission. I
reason.
didn't
Like
like it. He wasn't my Superman.
that's not. It's not just that, but it's like I mean, it's this mythic, this American what? American mythos, right? American. Um,
Folktale,
um,
mythos,
it's
legend.
it's
Sure.
it's like it's like our version of the Greek gods of Olympus and stuff
Right.
like that.
Yes.
We're just taking this American like I mean, it's not gods. Obviously, it's more the narrative of it than the mental. Um, we didn't worship the. Well, I mean, some people worship comic characters, and that's fine if that's who you are. But I'm just saying that these are America's like hopes and dreams and like aspirations. Their character, like I say, the hero's journey, in all the ways we wanted to see them, that expressed what we thought America was like and what we thought we wanted to read about. And I feel like the story of Superman that he gave us was objectively not much different than Brightburn, honestly.
Yeah. No. Actually,
I
it was very close. And
it
um.
was I mean and not just because Brightburn was playing off of the same trope, not just because it was doing like an Astro Cities riff, um,
But
more
they both
because
took a very nihilistic
thematically, yes,
approach.
exactly. You get me,
And
brother. You get me, brother. They took a
like,
nihilistic approach to
and
the
Superman
material,
should not be a
and
nihilist.
and
So
for some people that's a great character, but for my money, for my entertainment bucks, for the story I want to see, I don't want to see Superman stare into some girl's room and freak out on her like in Brightburn. But I did appreciate Brightburn for what it was. Like I thought, okay, so this is what it is. If you're gonna give me Superman, give me
Superman.
some some interpretation of Superman. What I think they're afraid of, everyone's so afraid that they're gonna come off corny.
Right.
Everyone is so afraid. I mean, not with Batman so much, even with like the other Justice League heroes, but with Superman specifically, his story is so very American that, I mean, it's a
Well, and it's also
spokesman
very,
from another place coming to America to make good, right?
and it's
Each
also
immigrant story.
very hopeful and idealistic. Which, I mean, let's face it, a lot of audience members aren't looking for that right now. I feel like so.
I had a professor once who told me that what happens is before the millennium, um, there's a tend to feel to see what like the terrible things that could happen, and then after the millennium passes, it's supposed. Oh, sorry. Um, and after the millennium passes, it's supposed to be like great,
Yeah.
but that's not
Well.
what I'm feeling. Like I'm feeling like it's just stayed and it's gone down. Everyone's
So
been more and more like and I think it's because there's just so much media. Like
yeah.
there's so many ways we ingest Superman. Like I had Superman curtains in my room before I even knew who what the heck he was. Um, he just was always my curtains in my room when I was growing up, and I was like, one day I was like, oh, that's the guy in my curtains. He's Superman, and he just does these great things. And I had never saw him fly. All I knew he had a cape and he was flying, and I was like, well, this
Yeah.
guy's got to be doing something right. Um, I knew him like in my brain, in my subhuman, in my like primal human like mind. This archetype, and I recognized it. And I think people are afraid of it. People are afraid to be. What was great in my opinion?
Mm.
Superman, the best interpretation, and I'm not a Superman fan per se. I think the best interpretation for my money was the animated series in the 2001
The
or
90s.
2005, the 90s. Okay.
Yep. You mean the one that ran to coincide with the new Batman Adventures, right?
And the Justice League, the whole what's called the Diniverse,
Yep, that was the
the
90s.
writer.
That was the 90s.
Okay, so that was a great interpretation of
I
Superman. I think that
agree. I would love to see
so.
that as a live action movie. Unfortunately, it sounds like this won't be it. However,
Next
um,
guy, next time around, next person who reinvents the Superman method. Well,
yes,
why can't it be you?
good question. Anyone watching, if you want to make a Superman pitch to Hollywood,
Yeah,
go ahead.
throw in some story. It seems like they're going under some changes. This might be a time for some new thoughts. Is it
Well,
throw in an
so
idea?
before we get on to the changes, because they did cover that, do you want to know a couple of the changes that will be in this version of Justice League?
Oh, okay. Tell me about the Justice League miniseries.
So, as we all know, originally under Zack Snyder, Darkseid was supposed to have a much bigger role in the movie before he was um, taken out bit by bit until he was basically fully removed by Joss Whedon. They hired an actor for that movie who did lines. They started to design him. They did mocap. It's been confirmed that Darkseid will be reinserted back into the movie. Does that do anything for you? How do you feel about Darkseid?
I do love Darkseid's motivation, but I fail to. I don't know. I don't think that's gonna make me love or hate this movie anymore. I feel like it was it was completely adequate, and maybe it'll be a little bit better than adequate. I don't. I'm not. I'm not thinking it's gonna be so much better. It's not gonna be. Not even gonna be Shazam because I freaking love Shazam. It made less sense than more movies, but it made me feel all the feels.
Okay, so not excited for Darkseid.
No, no, not excited for that. I do
Um,
like the character. I hope they do something cool with
uh, while speaking of characters, uh, they're they're reinserting entirely different Superman scenes,
Oh snap!
including a new opening scene for the movie featuring Superman.
So they're
Uh,
filming new stuff or creating new stuff with CGI, if you will.
I think it's a combination of CGI and old footage
Wait,
that was shot but was never really used.
so wait, is Darkseid gonna be redesigned, like a new design, new imagery for him as well than what was shot? Or is
Yes. So Darkseid, because Darkseid was always originally intended to be a purely CGI visual creation, they never actually created the model for him.
oh
He never moved past storyboard. So this will be the first time that Darkseid will be in a live action movie.
they're really putting some money behind this
They
then,
are,
huh?
and they're redoing Superman scenes again. Not sure how. My guess is a combination of CGI and unused footage. A new opening featuring him. A new
Didn't he
ending.
sign on for? Didn't he sign on for a few more movies though? I heard.
Yeah, they got Henry Cavill back for 3 more pictures, not including this. They haven't announced what those will be yet. Um, but they did get him back. They're giving him the black suit in the Justice League. Um, and
I
there's
wanted to be
just
darker.
and well, the whole rebirth, not DC rebirth, but the Superman
Oh,
rebirth
that
with the
much.
silver.
Yes, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Without the cape.
Yes, with the mullet. We'll see if he has a mullet.
Oh, so they give him the mullet? That
I
would
I certainly hope.
so
I would
wicked.
love it if they gave him the mullet.
I wouldn't mind that actually. That would be fun.
Um, and just
So I,
everybody else, they're giving more scenes. They're giving more scenes to the Flash, including having Iris West, who shot some scenes for the movie, but then had them taken out of the film, the theatrical film, the first time, more Aquaman, more of an origin story for Cyborg.
what they should do is have Flash cut the mullet off, and that'll
Yes, using his speed.
his super speed. All right, I got you covered.
So, anyways,
I'm
so
glad that
I
for a
mean,
dollar.
I don't really know what to say. It sounds like they're spending a lot of money into this restoration, rejiggering Frankenstein thing that they're creating. I,
Well, I
I,
mean,
I mean,
I hope the new CGI doesn't make the old CGI weird in contrast.
well, that's a question, right? Like, if they create the Dark Side CGI model a couple years later, is it going to clash against the older CGI work? I mean, what's that going to be
Who's the
like?
villain in that? Like Wolfman or something? No, Steppenwolf.
Yeah, so they're giving Steppenwolf a new design,
Oh, okay.
and apparently they're going to be inserting Desaad.
So they went like full Lucas on this, huh?
Yeah, they are going full Lucas on this. Exactly. In fact, that
Wow.
should be the name of the episode. DC Fandom going full Lucas.
I'm really surprised at this.
But
I
like,
hope they get,
why?
I hope they get something out of them. Purely money. They think that they're not making enough money. That's why they cut all those jobs. That's why they did all these things. Is they think that cutting the fans out and taking away all the things that we would spend a lot of money for would make us love them more and want to watch more of their stuff.
You mean adding all that stuff, spending all that money to add all the stuff that they think fans
Oh
would
no,
want
I
to see?
mean as a general like model, just a move that the parent group is now playing is they look at DC and they cut off all the things they don't think make enough money,
Right.
and then they just pump money into the things they think are making money, and they think that this will increase their value amongst the people who are into those things. But what I think they're actually doing is taking away some of the things we like most about those things. Like all these cuts in the DC like structure, getting rid of the black label and all this other stuff. What they're doing, the DC Direct, what they're doing is, I think, not going to be working the way they want it to. I think it's going to be
Okay, and I get all of that, but like,
negative.
other than creating a reason for people to want to sign up for HBO Max
Yeah.
when this becomes available. I mean, so the whole idea was that Zack Snyder's Justice League was supposed to be the springboard from which all other movies went by, right?
And that's what's going to
But
happen.
that didn't happen. And it's not like they're going to go back and make that retroactively the case. So, like, past creating
Well,
some major.
Why do you think that didn't happen? What do you mean? Why do you think? I mean, Wonder Woman fits into that universe. Batman fits into that universe. Flash
They fit into that universe, but they're not. They're not Zack's.
vision of all those characters.
Right. It's based off of Joss Whedon's version of all that characters, and I can tell you why I think that happens, but that's another episode about the kind of dirty dealings that happened between Zack Snyder and Warner Brothers at the time. But essentially, Zack Snyder was was presented with the opportunity to kind of create and foresee the DC live action movie verse the same way Kevin Feige has with the Marvel movies. And not even halfway through work on the Justice League, which was supposed to be the big thing that was going to springboard all this stuff, shit happened, and he left, he got fired, he got canned, whatever you want to say. So my point is that Justice League still exists, and that's what the movies now are based off of. It's not based off of this. We didn't get a dark side.
Do you think that the character motivations are going to be that much different in these? Like these will be different characters altogether? Do you think that
From everything that I read and whatnot, I believe
from Aquaman?
I believe so, because my basic understanding is that what Joss Whedon did is he put in a lot of the humor and stuff that Wonder Woman, but especially Aquaman and Shazam, then later fully adapted. Was the more lighthearted spiritedness, which, from what I've read from numerous sources, came more from Joss Whedon's work than it did from Zack Snyder's. So yes, I think it will be different. But to what end? I don't know. But it's a lot of money. Speaking of Aquaman,
They're investing.
yeah, they're investing, which good for them. I mean, again, I wasn't a big.
Last time, DC is always taking risks, right?
This is true, and I'll say this: I did not like the Justice League movie when it came out, but I'd be interested in watching this. I don't know if I'm gonna like it, but I'd definitely be interested in watching it. So, I guess that means it's working. Anyways, moving on, we do have a lot of very cool stuff that was announced about the Flash movie, which will be coming out in 2022.
Like what?
So, we heard rumors and rumblings earlier on that Michael Keaton might be cast in this movie. It's been confirmed now that not only is Michael Keaton cast in the Flash movie, but he will be playing the Batman '89. He will be playing Batman from the '89 Tim Burton movie. And on top of that, they got Ben Affleck back as Bruce Wayne Batman to kind of play a mentor type figure to the Flash.
So do you think this is going to be a Flashpoint movie?
So they've been saying that it's going to be a Flashpoint movie now for a while. Due to other things that they've said, and this is just pure conjecture on my part, I believe that just like the Marvel movies have been taking names from popular story arcs but kind of doing their own stories. Like, Age of Ultron wasn't really based on the Age of Ultron comic book storyline, for example.
Even a little bit.
I believe that the Flash movie is going to be called, Flashverse. But I think that the movie is going to serve to open up
The multiverse.
exactly.
All
Exactly.
their shows are real somewhere. All their imaginary stories are imaginary somewhere else.
Right. So Tim Burton's Batman exists out there. Adam West Batman. This is all similar to kind of what they did with the recent Crisis Arrowverse crossover, except this will be in the cinema. Was kind of like, yes, this all exists.
Similar to the Flashpoint anime.
Right. Because the other piece of information, which we don't have a lot on, but they officially stated that they are interested in doing more Elseworld standalone movies similar to the Joker.
Are they calling it Elseworld?
I don't know if they're calling that officially, but that's what they said in the direct quote when talking about future movies similar to the Joker in style, or Elseworld movies.
You have the receipts on that?
Not in front of me, but I can post it.
Sure.
So, or watch the DC Fandom event. They said it right there. After talking about the Flash, so yeah, so I think that the Flash movie is going to serve to open up everything. What do you? Any thoughts?
Well, I think that it's an excellent marketing ploy. I think it's exactly what you said, prices, except for Flashpoint, except in the big screen. I think that a lot of people are going to go see this, and I think that they're going to make a ton of money.
Well said.
But I don't know if it's going to be good. I can't say that yet. I'm going to cross my fingers and go like everyone else, like all the other sheep. Check it out. Because I do love the comics. I got some issues.
Well, I did like, I liked Wonder Woman all the way up until the end, as you know. And I did like Shazam, so.
Except when you put it all together, it makes absolutely no sense.
Shazam or what?
Shazam.
I don't know, made sense to me.
I mean, he went from picking like this special kid to just anyone, and when he picked anyone, it turned out to be the right one, the Shazam guy. There's so many like parts that don't like fit together very well. He spent the whole movie learning his powers, and his siblings can like you do them perfectly. In the end,
that's
just one of those
true.
Movies where it's better not to think about all that,
right?
Because
I mean, I kind of
pictured
it.
There's a lot of terrible like behavior in this movie too.
Right.
when they hit the kid on crutches with a car, that was straight up assault.
So
And that's
I'll
played off as funny. I am a little bit like, but then again, if you don't think about it, it's
right. See,
um,
so in my head, I view Shazam the same way I view like a lot of those '80s classic coming of age movies, like The Breakfast Club or
yeah,
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where as long as you don't think about them, they're fun movies. But the moment you start to like sit there and dissect them, like there's a
well, I
lot of
mean, it's not
issues.
really dissection. It's more just like common sense. You're thinking like, what? Anyway,
Right.
my point is, it's it's a good fun filler movie, a summer movie kind of thing. But
And
I
if
like
that's
the
what we get
kind
from The Flash, then I'd be happy. A fun
yeah,
summer filler
exactly.
movie.
If it's that fun, yes. But also, I'm hoping for something more. I'm
Yes,
the guy who likes the TV shows where everything is a discussion all the time. I want my conflict resolved through talking, and then maybe through fighting, or maybe lots of action, fine. But it doesn't. I'd prefer like more character growth and more like working things out than just
agreed.
stupid fun. And that stupid, everyone loves Independence Day, but also it's objectively the silliest movie in the world. And that's fine because everyone loves Independence Day. You all love the Marvel movies, and none of them make any sense. Well, I should say one makes sense. The rest of them don't. But they're all a good time, pretty much. Even if you completely forget what happened right after you've seen it, like
They are
pretty
all a
good
good
fun.
time, that's for sure.
Yeah. I did like Black Panther though, even though it was also just like everything else. That was the one that stuck out in my brain. I enjoyed that
Yeah,
film.
the Black Panther was really good. I
A
liked.
lot of fun.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
you know what movie you probably will enjoy then,
what?
by the sounds of it. So they spoke a lot about the Batman movie coming up soon,
Yeah.
and so first off, again, speaking of Elseworlds movie, the Batman is going to take place in its own separate universe, separate from the Justice League. So I guess
Oh
that
yeah.
explains how we can have Ben Affleck and Robert Pattinson both be Batman at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, I figured that, but
Yeah. Um,
it's
uh,
probably gonna be a nice dark version of Batman if we don't have enough of
so,
that.
and it's going to be a detective story,
Oh. Okay.
which is an aspect of Batman that we don't really see a lot of outside of the comics, I feel like. So,
I'm hoping it fulfills its mandate. I
yeah.
would like to see that.
It's supposed to take place in year two, which is an interesting decision. Not year one, not later on, year two of Batman on the streets of Gotham.
Who doesn't love Year Two? That was a good story.
The one with the Reaper.
The Reaper is a fantastic idea to have put into the Batman universe.
Yes, a great
The
design, just
idea of
poor
someone else
execution.
coming before him and everyone forgot him
Yeah.
because he was just like the Batman. Like it's a very good concept for the Batverse. I thought
Um,
it's you know
did you ever read the Darwin Cook Batman graphic novel Ego?
yes, I thought that was fantastic.
So the director of I never have, but I love me some Darwin Cook. He cited this as a direct inspirational source for the movie. Can you tell
Oh,
me
okay.
what that means, since you read the book?
Tell you what that means. I think that means he wants it to be more cerebral.
Okay.
It's more about who the characters think they are versus who they are,
That sounds
and
promising.
what drives the story is going to be um, very personal, I think.
Well, that sounds very
Dude,
cool.
I hope I hope it fulfills its mandate. I hope it does well. I would like to see that.
Yeah. And
I
it
wonder if
does
he
look
wants to use
very.
imagery like that.
Sorry, what?
But I wonder if he wants to use imagery like that, not just like the tone and story, but if he wants to like add more exaggerated, like like Miller loves to do in the movie.
Well, it does have a very sort of, even though it's year two, it does. They just released a trailer, and it does have a very kind of gritty, dark, almost Frank Miller year one look to
No,
it.
but I mean like, is it like visually? Is it like altered? Like the Frank Miller movies, like 300,
No,
Special
no,
Forces, Dallas.
no. So yeah, none of that CG, green screen, live action hybrid stuff.
So I don't. I mean just like the way his films like use CGI to enhance the
Yeah, so it
look
doesn't look like
of
it will
them.
be doing anything similar to that.
You've seen the trailer.
Yes,
What did you think of that trailer?
it didn't show a lot. I liked it.
How long was it?
Uh, like a minute. We got some good looks at Gotham. Got some good looks at the suit. I think I caught a glimpse of Penguin, the Riddler, and Catwoman at different points. Again, it was very dark. It was very gritty. It was very wet. It was very, you know, the
I
way I would
I
think
hope
of
he does
Gotham.
do. I hope he does do an homage to like Batman Returns with Penguin and the Riddler in it. That would be
Yeah.
fantastic. Um,
Well, so then it sounds like that's the thing you're most looking forward to so far.
right, right on.
So, we also got some news on James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, which is going to be completely different than the previous Suicide Squad movie, thank God. And this is James
I didn't
Gunn.
see that. I didn't see that other Suicide Squad movie.
Uh,
Is anyone paying for the original cut of the Suicide Squad?
People are asking for that. There's been no comment.
Yeah,
I
I
wouldn't
heard
hold my
the.
breath on the Ayer cut
I'm
of
pretty sure I
Suicide
heard
Squad.
I'm pretty sure I heard the director of Suicide Squad said
Oh yeah, he's
that
all
he
for it.
thought
He
his
he
movie.
would like it.
He did not like the movie that they came out with.
No, he would like, because again, this was like during the beginning of the whole DC movie structure, where they same thing happened to hit. Very similar thing happened to David Ayer that happened to Scott Snyder, which is
So, who were the people with these mandates? Was it Warner Brothers?
yes,
Okay.
but the people leading the Warner Brother movie division at that time are no longer there, and AT&T is now supervising the Warner Brothers movie division, so things have changed. But at the time, David Ayer created a cut of Suicide Squad. Never saw it, can't tell you if it's better or not. Just he created a cut that got completely obliterated in the editing room, apparently, and was not at all the cut that ended up being released to theaters. And having
That
seen
sounds
the
really
cut that was released to theaters, it was bad.
I I can only imagine because I didn't want to watch it. I heard all
Yeah.
the bad news. It was like, yeah, good. I
So,
wasn't even excited about Suicide Squad in the first place. I mean, it's really hard to do a good Suicide Squad movie because they're objectively bad people,
yeah,
so they have to be bad.
right.
Movies try to not make things bad, but they have to be bad. So really, this is the one place where a Schneider cut, I mean, a Schneider like mentality would be perfect to make a DC movie. The
Uh,
Suicide Squad needs Snyder. Man
I
of
think James
Steel did
Gunn
not
has
need
a
Snyder.
good mindscape for creating that sort of a film as well, though.
Well, I'm sure he does. I'm just saying, like, if you're putting this, a celebrated in quotes director in a in charge of a film like
Yeah,
launching, you're saying here that he was in charge of the whole.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, I.
I would have given him Suicide Squad to do, not Superman.
Yeah. Agreed.
Clearly,
Agreed.
clearly, Joss Whedon is much better for something like Superman.
Yes.
That's who you need for your Superman. You
I
don't need.
I agree. They yeah. I'm not sure
Love him,
where, but yeah. That
love him or hate him. The thing about the good thing I find about a Joss Whedon story is he tries to get to the character, the people,
and
and
it's
like show
heartwarming
you
and charming.
the reaction of like, yeah, it's a little bit of charm. He tries to throw in some
Yeah.
like something that connects the people, on who are trying to save the world, giving them stakes, you know, something that most superhero movies, I'm sorry, do not have.
Right.
I can count on my fingers like the stakes that were in all like 50 Marvel movies or however many there are. Like on one hand, um, most of the stakes there are non-existent. You're just like, what's going on? What are you doing?
Yeah, I could count the stakes on one hand too. Just half of all life in existence.
Yeah, that's the only movie, one of the only movies that has stakes is Endgame, which is one of the reasons I actually really like Endgame, and I very much, I'm sorry, not Endgame, Infinity War. I very much love Infinity War, but I do not love Endgame because they just lost they like jumped the
Yeah.
shark in the end of the first movie, and you didn't even realize it until the second movie came around. You're like, oh no, what did you do? What did you do?
Well,
You
so
somehow made a coherent movie out of all these things, and it was emotionally resonating, and then that was it. That was the end.
I mean, you know, I could spend hours discussing the merits of the Marvel movies with you. I've enjoyed them all. I like them all.
I'm not saying they're not fun to
No,
watch.
no,
There's a difference between being fun to watch.
I
There's
get
a difference
you.
between being fun
I
to
get
watch
you.
and being a good movie, and there's a difference between being fun to watch and being a good
Yeah,
movie, and also being a movie that makes sense. So you could be
absolutely.
any number of these three. You could be a fun movie to watch that makes no sense. You could
Yeah,
be a fun movie to watch that makes total sense. There's so many like ways you can do this, and they sometimes they fail all of them, like with Captain Marvel. God rest her soul.
well, so I take it then that you're not that interested in the Suicide Squad.
I I'm not interested. I'm not interested. Since I didn't see the original cut, I would go to see this.
Well, this is not going to have anything to do with that other movie. This is a completely
Yeah, that's
different
what I
thing.
said. Like because I've just saying I've heard no reviews yet, so I'll
Right.
check it out.
So,
Especially if the director wants to put his name on it again.
nope, different director. So again, this is a James Gunn, which completely different story, completely different characters. Has nothing to do with the other Suicide Squad movie that came out a few years back.
Right.
They're saying that it's going for a more 70 gritty 70s war movie with style and characters of a comedy, whatever that means. And
Was there
that
comedy in the first cut that you saw?
you mean the other Suicide Squad movie? I mean, this isn't
Yeah.
another cut. This is a different movie.
Right. Was there comedy in the cut of the Suicide Squad movie you saw?
Oh no, the
The one
entire
with
thing was a mess.
but was there comedy in it?
I
Is my
mean,
question. Was it? Did you laugh?
It
Did
was
it make
like,
you
no, no, no. There were no moments in the movie theater where I burst out into laughter. I mean, it was lighthearted, but it wasn't. No, nothing about it made me laugh.
lighthearted? Okay.
Um, really looking back at that other Suicide Squad movie, I liked the music, and that was about it. It was
See,
fine. I don't know.
I think I think a James Gunn movie would have dry humor and be funnier than the previous movie. And from my
Yeah.
not knowing anything about the previous movie.
So, and apparently this one will be taking its cues from John Ostrander's run on the Suicide Squad. I,
So he's trying to like use a story that someone else wrote and cram it into a 2-hour movie.
well, I think more influences by, just like the Batman is
Because
not going to be based on Darren Cook's ego straight up. It's more like elements that are inspired by.
I just hope I hope his sense, sensibilities fit well with this material
Yeah.
because I feel like a lot of times the things he does in movies are not always
Well,
what
I
I would do
just keep on seeing like
or what I would want to see.
Guardians of the Galaxy mashed up with, say, Slither. How's that for a take?
I have opinions on Slither, but that's different.
Okay.
Always good. It's always good to see Nathan Fillion working
And he's going to be in this.
though. Is he?
Yeah, I mean, um, so this movie's going to have Idris
Is he gonna
Elba.
be General? Is he gonna be Colonel Flash?
So this movie's going to have Idris Elba as Bloodsport. It's going to have Michael Rooker as a character named Savant. Doctor Who himself, Peter Capaldi, as a thinker. And Nathan Fillion as some character called TDK. Again, not the biggest DC uh, person out there. I don't know who TDK is.
I like DC, but I'm not that familiar with
But, and that will be coming in our way in 2021.
So that's something.
Yeah.
It might be good.
We also got some more word on both Aquaman 2 and Shazam 2.
What's the word on Aquaman 2? Is it going to be a good time with lots of color?
Well, so actually, the director said that he plans on making the second one a little bit more serious, a little bit more relevant in the world that we're living in today. And
Is he going to make Atlantean like
COVID, yeah, I don't know what that means, but that's
COVID? Oh,
Lantian
Ron
COVID.
Jeremy. Hey, Ron Jeremy, come on. You know the fake people.
And then Shazam 2 just got a title, which is Shazam Fury of the Gods.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did that come out bad?
I mean, it is what it is. It's like very kind of Clash of the Titans sounded, right? Like very kind of corny and oldie, right? Like Shazam Fury of the Gods.
Is it going to be a Adam movie? The Black Adam movie?
So there was going to be a Black Adam movie, a separate movie with The Rock.
I mean, is this going to be a Black Adam versus?
No, this is going to be something different. There is going to be a Black Adam movie, but that's going to be its own thing. And the Black Adam movie is going to introduce the Justice Society of America.
They're really going for it. I'm telling you.
I mean,
They think the comics and the toys don't make money, and this does, and let's just push that product.
I mean, Justice Society of America in a live-action Black Adam movie. Did you ever think you'd see the day?
I sadly did.
Mm.
everything that cool people are into eventually gets co-opted into mainstream culture.
So, what did you think of season 2 of Titans on the DC streaming app, moving into
I thought it
TV?
was uneven, and I appreciate what they're doing. I really like. Um, you did know that the first episode of season two was supposed to be the
The
last
season
episode of
finale.
season one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they moved that just to like give you a cliffhanger. So I really liked season one in its entirety, with the first episode of season two on that. But the second season, which is what I consider episode two on, is uneven. I don't know. There was a
I
little
liked
bit.
it more because it felt more like the comic because there was an actual team and costumes and stuff,
Yeah,
but
no, that was cool. I did appreciate that. I don't know. I just meh. I like the Doom Patrol a lot more.
yeah. Well, unfortunately, no
Um,
news on Doom Patrol, but a third season of Titans is coming to HBO Max. And Corinne Walters, who plays Robin, not Dick Grayson, Robin in Titans.
yeah,
So you remember that whole mine shenanigan thing that happened towards the end of the last season?
yeah.
So he's going to become Red Hood in season 3.
Oh shit.
And also being introduced in season 3 is Barbara Gordon, but not as Batgirl. Instead, Barbara Gordon is going to be the commissioner of the Gotham City Police Department. So those are the Pig 2 comic names that are going to be, I don't know, joining or happening in season 3 is Barbara Gordon and Robin becoming Red Hood,
Check
but
it out.
apparently without the whole crowbar to the brain thing.
I'll check it out until it becomes like all the other DC shows that I stopped watching because stupid. Um, I'll check this one out for now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not. I have no opinion whatsoever. Aside from I'll give it a shot. That's what I
Well,
feel like most shows and especially comic stuff. I'll give it a shot. See if it really works. See if it'll
yeah.
keep my interest.
Well, so
Doesn't
here
talk down
is
to
a
me.
show. Sorry, go ahead. Didn't mean to.
I'll just say, keeps my interest. Doesn't talk down to me. Doesn't see me like a fool, and like it keeps me both entertained and interested, or just interested. Like I would be fine with a suspense movie. I would be fine with a Spectre movie where like there are no superheroing throughout it. It's just
Yeah.
Spectre doing weird Spectre shit.
Well, then you'll real. I mean, so that again, you're gonna love today's Batman news. I'm telling you, they're lining them up for you. A show that's coming to HBO Max is a GCPD TV series, which is gonna which is gonna be spun out of the Batman movie. It's gonna be handled by the same director and creative crew behind that movie. Well, the movie with Robert Pattinson as Batman is going to be year 2. The TV show technically takes place in year 1. And it's all going to be about kind of the seedy, corrupt cops and everything, and how this new cop, Gordon, is like has to rise up through the ranks through all of this filth
Okay,
and
so
everything.
who's playing Gordon?
Well, so in the Batman movie, uh, Gordon is going to be played by Jeffrey Wright.
Are we to assume he's going to star in the television?
Yes, but they haven't stated anything regarding that, which is weird. They also haven't stated anything regarding whether or not Robert Pattinson will show up at all in the TV show.
I
I
would
assume
prefer
not, since that's
no.
going to be a year later. But yes, Jeffrey, I mean,
That being said, if the show lasts for a couple of seasons, then it's going to definitely be having to
yeah.
address the movie.
And again, this is
Um,
supposed to be a very serious take on corruption and law enforcement and all of that on
They're
an
definitely
HBO
getting
show.
close to that.
So
You know who
that,
they should get for this show as a
mm,
writer? Right off the bat, I'm thinking my boys Greg Rucka and Ed Brubaker.
yes, absolutely,
They
because of their
should.
work on the GCPD
I
comic
think
series.
I feel like I heard that Ed Brubaker does write for television or something.
Yeah, work for hire for yeah,
I would love to see him work on this show. He would make it the best.
absolutely.
He is a fantastic. You were asking me, I think, a while back, who my favorite, who my when I look at a character, I think it was Daredevil. Who do I see? Whose influence? Like you said, you see Frank Miller. To me, it's Ed Brubaker.
It,
His Daredevil is
yeah,
the he's DD for me. Double D. Oh, I'm not
different Double D. Hey, we're a YouTube show aimed at adults. You can say it, you, me, and Jeffrey Wright all in the same corner. um, so
Well, that sounds fantastic. What else? Do
yeah.
we know anything about the comic book end of things?
Yes, so surprisingly, DC Fandom didn't have a lot this time around to say on either the comics front or the Arrowverse shows. My guess is, again,
Arrowverse is making money. Don't fuck with that. Let that shit go.
this is just my guess, but I believe it's because with everything that just happened with DC and with the Arrowverse shows being shut down due to COVID and everything, they didn't really have anything ready to announce on that front, which is, again, this is all conjecture on my part, but I'm guessing that's why they split it in two. So I have a feeling the thing in September is going to have a lot more on the comics front and the Arrowverse front. Having said that, we did get some small but very exciting news on the comics front, and that is after years of litigation and false starts and everything, Milestone Comics is making a return in February.
Nice.
So the first is going to be a small rollout. It's going to be a slow rollout rather, starting with Static Shock in February 2021.
Hey,
Um,
Virgil, boy.
uh, they haven't announced a writer or an artist yet. They will also be coming out with, shortly afterwards, a new Static Shock graphic novel written by Reginald Hudland and illustrated by Kyle Baker. Now, are you aware of Reginald Hudland? I believe he's been working on the Black Panther for a while.
Yeah.
And then later on, in the spring of 2021, a new series based on Icon and Rocket, also done by Reginald Hudland and drawn by Dennis Cohen, are going to be launched.
Nice.
Another, personally for me, very exciting thing about this is because of everything having to do with Milestone, it's been impossible to get reprints or copies of old Milestone comics
Yeah.
for a long time. I mean, just simply been out of stock unless you've been lucky enough to find one in a back bin somewhere. Starting now, DC is going to be releasing their Milestone back catalog exclusively digitally through the Comixology app. Now, I know exclusivity is never a fun thing, but at least if you want to read the old Static Shock comic books, you can do that now.
Yeah, that's the best.
But so, what do you think of all of that? I mean, I'm very excited for this. We were talking a bit about before the show started how important and influential the whole Milestone comic line was back in the day.
Dwayne McDuffie and all of
Yeah,
the stuff that that I remember reading, like the cartoon. I remember reading Static and being like, "This is awesome."
yeah,
And the little mini like universe that they created, which we've seen kind of in the background a lot of times in other DC materials. Um,
yeah. They've tried to bring it in a couple times, but for whatever
in Young,
reason, never.
they have Icon and Static and Young Justice, which
Yeah,
was really nice to see. One of the reasons I was really into Young Justice when season 2 came around, when they brought Static in, I was like, "Oh no, you did!" That was great. I was so excited.
but also
And
like
then they
isn't.
had Icon and
Yeah,
Rocket and Hardware,
yeah,
and I feel like I'm missing someone else. Holocaust.
yeah.
Um, I feel like I'm so like there's some great um books that came out of this like universe, which I guess would be like Marvel's equivalent would be like the new universe.
Yeah,
It's this other universe that happens that's totally different than um, than the DC universe.
right. Has
For
nothing
those
to
people
do
out there
with.
who,
Yeah,
yeah, for those people out there who don't know what all we're talking about, the Milestone universe was a full universe that had nothing to do with the DC universe, and they focused on characters of color,
yeah.
and it was
Written by
really
writers
interesting
of
of
color.
color, yeah, artists, and it was just like a really interesting take on it's like Astro City, like
Yeah,
it was this different take on superherodom.
but it was also
It was
kind of
really
mature in the way they tackled some issues, and because it was written by people of color, focusing on characters of color, they often dealt with issues that you wouldn't normally see in a lot of the other more
comic books
mainstream comics.
at the time, anyway.
Yeah, at the time.
Now, like we see like every we saw Batman's dick in a comic recently. I hear,
Yes, that was in the Black Label, but it was blown way out of proportion, and yeah, that was a
I'm just
thing.
pointing out that like now that we can show Batman's dick, anything is up for
Is
grabs.
fair game,
So
sure.
you know who I'd love to see? You know, we were just talking about black characters
Mm.
of color, and I would love to see in whatever universe the DC universe is in now, the return of Orpheus. Do you remember this character?
No,
He
I
he
just thought of
was a
Lawrence
musician
Fishburne from The
and was
Matrix,
like
but
he was a musician. He was an ally of the Bat. He wore like
okay.
this helmet. He was an awesome
I'll
character.
have to look him up now.
He died, I think, in the beginning of Gang War or during Gang War. You know where they also killed Stephanie, who wasn't really dead.
Yeah, Stephanie Brown.
Come on, Orpheus, bring Orpheus back.
Well, I mean, they
He
brought
was
Stephanie
he
Brown
wasn't really
back
dead
recently
either.
in Rebirth, so it's only a matter of time until they bring
I'm
Orpheus back.
hoping like he was a great character. He was fun. I think he was like an athlete or something. Anyway, he was fantastic. No, he was a musician. Musician, something to do with music because of the Orpheus thing.
Yeah.
I just don't remember.
Well, so let me ask you, now that I got kind of all the news out of the way, and again, I
Not all the news.
apologize, there was a ton of news, and yes, not all of the news, but the biggest
That was all the
news.
news.
Oh, how,
There's no other news. We're newsless. There's less than news.
that's it.
You don't know anything else you want to talk about that happened?
I just want to know what do you think? Do you think they did a good job? What do you think of the announcements that they released?
You didn't tell me anything about the interactions, the panels, or if people thought about the. What did you think? Did you watch any of it?
I watched it. I thought
Which one? What was the? What were your favorite panels?
I for me, I really like the interactive panels, or rather, the panels themselves weren't interactive, but the two panels which were focusing on two video games that were released,
What were they?
or were announced, rather, not released yet.
What
Um,
are they?
well, so I know you're not a big video game player, Fizza, so I didn't want to bore you with the details, but I'm a
Far
huge
away.
I'm a huge video game fanatic. Comics are my number one passion, with video games coming in a very close second.
Far
Um,
away. Tell me about it.
so, two video games were announced. We finally got news on the next game that the team at Rocksteady has been working on now ever since Gotham Knights came out. Um, of course, Rocksteady is the team responsible for the whole Arkham Batman trilogy of games, which were an amazing, amazing rethinking of how to adapt Batman and his world into an interactive video game environment.
Did you recall Denny of our earlier conversation that Denny
Yeah,
writes the graphic novel in this universe?
he worked on the story of the first one and a little bit of the story of the second one.
Nice.
Um,
Pretty sure he wrote a graphic novel too that I read.
Possibly it,
Like
it
in this
exploded
universe.
all over the place. It also, the series used the same voice cast as a 90s animated series for pretty much any of the characters, even though they were very different, more mature, more violent takes. They used the same voice cast for everyone, and it was just, you felt playing it, you felt like Batman. I mean, zipping up into the shadows, swooping down onto an unsuspecting, like, it was literally what video games are meant to be, which is utter like wish fulfillment of like wanting to feel like the Bat. It was fantastic.
Very cool.
So they are busy working on a Suicide Squad. What is it with the Suicide Squad this year? I don't know. Focused video game
Everyone loves Task Force X, man. What can you say?
where, yeah, apparently they have to take out the Justice League. We don't know much more than that. We've seen some of the designs. They look awesome, as always. Again, this is Rocksteady. Um, uh, we'll probably put a few in here as I'm going along. And your task is to take up members of the Justice League. And it will be coming out for next-gen systems, PlayStation 5 and the Xbox X. 2002, I believe. Very exciting. Very much looking forward to that one. The
But,
other big video game announcement is WB Montreal, who was responsible for doing the Arkham video game spin-off Arkham Origins, which got a lot of hate because it was the one Arkham video game that wasn't made by Rocksteady. I thought they did a great job with it. I don't understand the hate, but a lot of people didn't like it. They are now working on their own Batman game, which is not going to take place at all in the kind of Arkhamverse, where Commissioner Gordon is dead and Batman is missing. And it's you get to play as three different characters for the first time in any of these games. You get to play as Red Robin, Batgirl, and Nightwing, and
is this Tim Drake, Red Robin?
yeah, and it's very Arkham-like in terms of visuals and how it's showing the action, but it doesn't take place in that world, and that, which I'm also very much looking forward to, will be coming out next year sometime, 2021. They were just quick previews, very short trailers, just to get people excited. Not a lot is known about them, but as a video game player, as a comic book lover, I'm excited.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. So what do you think of part one of DC Fandom?
I thought it was all right. I don't know. I didn't have much of an expectation for it. I we talked about this before, but I feel like DC is making a lot of mistakes, and what they really need to do is just give the people what they want, not what they want them to want.
Well, do you
Um,
feel like with all these announcements, with the four-part Zack Snyder thing, with all the
well, I
Batman
think
movie
that's all.
news, with the video games, that they're not
As
giving
I
people what they want?
I already gave my opinions and all of that. I'm just saying, like, what I want to hear about is what they're doing, what's going to be kept in the comics, what's going to be going
Yes.
on in the future. I want to hear about, I actually, don't care too much about most of the TV shows. I only really watch Flash, I think,
Okay.
only because I don't know. I don't even know why I still watch Flash. I feel like it's the most lighthearted and
Sure.
acceptable, but all the others they just
Well,
feel
you
like
watched
too
Black
much.
Lightning, right?
What?
Or did you stop?
What? I watched what?
Black Lightning.
I watched Black Lightning too. That's true. But until recently, he wasn't even in their universe, so I didn't
Is
really
is true.
think of him as the same as the
It is a
DC
DC
TV show.
property, but yes, it wasn't. It was separate from the Arrowverse.
I really do like Black Lightning, but I feel like that they
Oh,
ended
and
it a little
Stargirl. Oh my God,
abruptly.
Stargirl. How great was Stargirl?
Oh, Stargirl, yeah, that's a good fun show.
I mean,
That was fun.
I just love
It's
that
on the
show.
CW network now, but it's not in that same universe still, right?
Sure, but it's still DC TV. It's still
That's
TV
true.
series based on DC
I mean, in
characters.
that case, then I do like
Same with Watchmen was a DC TV miniseries or whatever you want to call it. Like to me, the DC TV is bigger than like Arrowverse is a thing, but DC TV is bigger than just Arrowverse.
yeah, I guess so. I
Right.
just when I think of DC TV, I think of Arrowverse. Some of the
Yeah,
other shows are on different networks or online only, and it's I'm not
makes
too happy
sense.
about DC. I mean, HBO Max. They're taking stuff off of demand and keeping it just on Max, and it's kind of annoying.
Well, I'm sorry, taking stuff from where?
HBO on demand.
Oh, as a non HBO subscriber, I wasn't. All I know is that they're completely absorbing the DC Universe streaming app. I wasn't aware as to what they're doing. Aren't there like five different HBO apps? I mean, it's also kind of confusing if you
It is
ask
very
me, but
confusing. That's true too.
I'm not sure what they
Um,
all do or what the differences are, to be clear.
it's annoying when you're watching a show with someone and they're like, "Oh, it's on HBO. Let's just check it out." Boom, and all of a sudden it just stops working. You're like, "Wait, why?
Yeah,
Why am I not watching it now? You made this show. It's an HBO show. Why won't it play?"
I don't know. I don't
Well,
have
I'm
the
just
answer for you.
I don't have I know the answer. It's funny.
Well, are
But
you watching it on HBO? Is it an HBO show on it? I mean, I don't know.
I'm watching it on HBO on demand.
Okay. Yeah, again,
So
I, having
and
no
it's a show that
HBO
was
channels,
produced
I don't know.
and only shown on HBO, and it's there for the first few episodes, and then all of a sudden it's gonna give me some money.
Okay. Well,
Weird.
HBO is paid for. I don't know. I'll probably get HBO Max eventually, especially once the DC Universe app is completely gone. But before then, I'll have to figure out because there are like four HBO apps and they all cost money. Which one exactly does what?
Oh, are they bringing back Krypton? That's what they should do. Bring back Krypton. Hashtag all the fans out there. The two of you
Bring
watch
back
the
Krypton.
show.
Bring back Krypton.
The two
Yeah,
of you who
no,
watch the show
unfortunately,
need to.
unfortunately, I
Two of
think,
you who The two of you who watch the show need to hashtag bring back Krypton out to AT&T. AT&T,
absolutely.
bring back Krypton, and maybe we'll get that on HBO Max too. That would be pretty
Hey,
cool.
we got Young
Krypton was
Justice back,
the
so
pre-
one can
like
only hope.
listen. I would never have thought when I heard the premise of the show that I would be a Krypton fan, but I will
Yeah,
tell you that even though the second season goes places, it gets back, and you enjoyed the ride. I was very happy with pretty much all of Krypton. I thought it was a fantastic series, and I would love to see a third season. I would love to see what
me
happens next.
too. And I've read some of the stuff that they were planning on doing with the third season, and I would love to see it. But
Hashtag bring back Krypton.
hashtag save Krypton.
Save Krypton. Well, it's already gone. I got to bring it back now. I mean,
Yeah,
if Snyder gets this stuff brought back, why can't Krypton?
why not?
Bring back Krypton. Bring back Krypton. Yeah. More
Well,
Krypton. More
uh,
Krypton.
as
You know what
always,
I'd like to also see? Let me just throw this
sure.
out at you too. I'd love to see a Legion of Superheroes something. They teased that at the
There was that
like
cartoon.
what?
Do you remember the cartoon? I think there was like 2 or 3 seasons. It had Superboy in it. There was a
Yes,
Legion
I
of
love that
Superheroes
cartoon.
cartoon
It was
show.
like it was a weird like the animation was a little more
It
childish
was
and the
very
content
exaggerated, yeah.
the content was very good. Like
Yeah,
the story was pretty decent. I really liked in season two where there was like a clone of Superboy and he was
yeah.
it's fantastic. I think they did a pretty good job with that show altogether. It just um, I think that it's time for bring us back some more. There's so many they leave so many like hints here and there throughout different DC stuff that they're gonna give you Legion stuff. And as a Legion fan, and I am a Legion fan. I've read Legion in all its incarnations, and I think that they're equally
Are you reading the
all.
current version?
I am not reading the current one. I'm sorry to say, but just because I haven't had time. I
Sure,
mean, I
sure.
have time, but I just have other things to
We've
do.
all been housebound and, plagues and wars, and makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I will say that all legions are equal. The post-zero hour legion is the best legion.
Okay.
Um, it just is. They Abnett and Lanning doing the Great Darkness Saga is better than
That's a
the Great
great,
Darkness Saga.
yeah,
It's fantastic. Um,
agreed.
I know everyone will curse me down. Unpopular opinion right here. I'm the king of them. Unpopular opinion.
But that's why we love
Abnett and
having you.
Lanning
You
is
voice
well,
the opinions nobody else voices. That's why we have you.
well, yeah. Thank you. But Legion of Abnett and Lanning is better than Paul Levitz and whoever else is doing that one. uh, Legion. Anyway, so that's my feeling. I think that we need some Legion. I'd love to hear about a television program. I would prefer a cartoon, honestly speaking, for Legion. I think
Yeah,
that you can give us,
I think
like
Legion would be.
something like Young Justice.
Yeah, I think it's doable now, but I think Legion would still be very tricky to pull off in a live action format. I think it
Yeah,
would be
no,
much better
I wouldn't.
animated.
I wouldn't. I know. I mean, I thought there was going to be a backdoor, Legion pilot with Supergirl because it seemed that way. I don't know why we were meant to care about any of those characters if they weren't meant to stick around.
Oh, do you mean
Um,
back from the Justice League cartoon, not the Arrowverse Supergirl one?
no, I was talking about the CW
Oh,
Legion this
oh,
time.
okay. Well, they had a couple
I
characters
thought.
show up, but
I mean, I thought that was going to be a backdoor. I should.
yeah, to a Legion
I thought
series.
there was going to be a backdoor Legion, like like a pilot coming where we'd follow them in this either they didn't get to the right future or they didn't get to the future or they got to the future.
Yeah.
Any of those three scenarios, and I'm sure many more. I was hoping to see, because I I waited the entire like was it 3 seasons of Monel on that
Supergirl.
show, and I
Yeah.
never got the full-on Valor outfit I've been waiting for.
we
Never got it.
kind of got close with this,
Kind of close, but
but
it never
yeah.
was true full valor, and I was always like, dang it. And also like, whatever happened to that puppy dog dude who was the tech guy? He went into the Legion Future. We never saw him again.
Well, he
I can't
popped
even remember his
up
name.
for a two-parter this past season, but yeah. Win,
He
or
came back?
win, I
Yeah,
think,
that was it.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Turned out he got married, had a kid.
Oh, he came back, huh? He
Yep.
got married and had a kid.
The actor did a two-part guest appearance this past season.
Oh, so he's not in the show
No,
still.
no, they was more like,
Is
hey,
he
look who's
is he
back.
still in the future?
Yeah, at the end he went back to the future. Back to the future.
So we have another backdoor opportunity for a Legion television series, which could be terrible. But since this is the show, the network that gave us like Legends of Tomorrow, I don't think that terrible is a bad idea. I would love to see Mono. I would love to see someone call him Valor. That's what I've been waiting for. Valor. Ah,
You know,
come.
you want to hear about unpopular opinions? Legends of Tomorrow is currently one of my favorite Arrowverse shows.
I know it is. You
Just
love
because
that
it
show. I
doesn't
think it's
give a
amazing.
damn. I mean, it's so fantastic.
I think
Like,
I don't think
they
it's an
don't
unpopular
care, and
opinion
it's
either.
great.
I don't think it's an unpopular opinion either. Like I think most of the people who watch CW love that show.
Well,
Their favorite one.
people I have spoken to are like, "Why do you like this shit?" Like, there's a bunch of
People like
C-listers and they
any
never do
CW show?
anything, and I'm like, exactly.
Do those people like
That's the
any
point.
CW show?
That's why.
Do those people like any
It's a
CW
bunch of
show?
C. Well, um, they did. I feel like a lot. I feel like an issue with the Arrowverse is a lot of people are starting to like fall out of it.
Yeah, of course, because it's getting monotonous. They're not. They're doing the same thing that DC likes to do all the time and pretend everything is status quo. The great thing about the post-crisis pre-New 52 universe is that eventually they realize that's not going to cut it if we're going to have one universe. That time has to move.
Right.
And it was a great opportunity to bring legacy characters in, diversity characters in, characters that made sense, not like characters that are just made up to give you what you think the public wants instead of like, I'm all for new characters when they're fun, but like you've got an opportunity here in this universe to give us. I mean, DC owns like 100,000 characters.
Yeah.
You could literally go on forever. Those DC universes need to change. They need to continue to grow. I'm up for. I don't know if it's been canceled yet, but I was up for the Canary show because I watched the mini series
So it wasn't
of
canceled because it was never picked up.
oh, it wasn't picked up.
Right.
I would have been down for that. I really liked the female daughter of Green Arrow character and her brother. I
Yeah.
thought that was a fun thing. I would have loved to see the Canary show. Um,
Yeah, I
but
hope
then we
that
got backlash
does
that
get picked up at some point. I would be very interested in watching that as well, especially if it is set in the future, which it looked like it would be for a while.
yeah, it did look
It
like it
could
was
do
going to
some
be a show
interesting
that was set
things.
in the future. Like
Yeah.
it felt like again the ending of that Green Arrow mini or that Arrow miniseries was a backdoor pilot for the Canary show.
It was.
That's,
It was.
yeah.
But the series itself it wasn't picked up. So, but it was meant to serve as a backdoor pilot. So,
I would have, yeah. No, I'm just saying, a lot of things in DC seem to be set up as backdoor politics. And
yeah.
I don't know why they can't come to sell these fun ideas. I mean, we've got once again the show that you really like and I do not, which is objectively batshit crazy in my opinion.
Legends.
Yeah. So why can't we have some Canaries in the future,
Yeah.
or some Legionnaires running around the universe doing
I
Legionnaire
mean,
stuff.
diversify the Arrowverse more. Have the batshit crazy legends. Have the future flung female focused Canaries. Have the kind of hopeful yesteryear kind of nostalgia entranced Stargirl. I mean, make it so that each show
Uh,
has a different purpose, serves a different thing, instead of it all being, the same, essentially. I mean, yes, Arrow and Flash were not, one was darker, one was lighter, whatever, but I get what you're saying, and